We have some major breaking news for Diablo. Only 291 people in the entire world have completed this. We have a minor hotfix that we're going to go over briefly as well. We also have a ton of dev tweets that we have to go over. We got a lot to talk about. What's up, World Shipper? Back in another video, and we're checking out all things Diablo 4. Okay, so let's just jump into that hotfix really quickly, as it's pretty brief. And it was just some minor bugs fixes here. They resolved an issue where players in World Tier 3 and Tier 4 could invite others to their party that were not eligible for those tiers. Kind of crazy that people could skip up to World Tier 4, although I've seen a ton of people that have been boosted into World Tier 4 at like level 20. They also fixed an issue where all world tiers would display as unlocked when players may not have met the requirement. Another kind of crazy bug there that like either benefited or not really, as some of those level 73 mobs in World Tier 4 are just really hard early on. They also had some further stability and improvements, so mainly just some general fixes there and that sort of ish exploit for the World Tier jump. So only 291 people have completed this so far, and that is the hardcore challenge. So if you didn't know, I'm sure most of you do, but if you didn't know by now, there's a challenge to get to level 100 as a hardcore player. But it's not just the in-game challenge of it, but there also is a Blizzard challenge with it, where if you do hit level 100 on a hardcore character, they will put your name on a statue that's going to be by the Blizzard headquarters. So kind of cool there to be like immortally recognized, especially making it to level 100 without being unalived. But there also is some further details around that, because I think a lot of people just thought that if once they reach level 100, they're immediately immortalized or immediately put on the statue. But essentially, you do have to actually enter in your stuff on Twitter. So you must share it with the actual Diablo verified Twitter account, and you have to put your Battle.net tag or ID, and you have to put photo proof of you reaching level 100 on hardcore, which I would assume is that more so just they want pictures or video proof of you being a level 100 character. There's a lot of sub terms here I'm not going to go over for like most stuff that is applied to pretty much everything, but I'll put a link down below if you want to check out all the different rules and kind of make sure that you're aligned with this stuff. And we did have that big interview happening today with Rod Ferguson, Pez Radar, Joe Shelley, and Tiffany Carley, which is going to be a campfire chat, and this is actually breaking down the real feedback, because there's been so much feedback about the game so far. And I think one of these tweets here really highlights exactly what's kind of not essentially wrong with the game, but just issues that definitely need to be improved on. So there's a tweet here by Alex Thomas that essentially highlights pretty much everything. And essentially they highlight over the fact that we need global chat, a party finder, better trade systems, a variety of new legendaries, and not just in the World Tier 3, but in World Tier 4 as well. BGs, races for home class, I'm not really sure what that is. They said it being able to move your camera away, which is kind of one of those that I think people just more so want to be able to zoom out farther. They feel like they're kind of zoomed in too much. We also have being able to save our talent branches in specs, which I know is a huge one that people have really wanted. We actually did have crafting in the beta, or at least in the early alphas. I'm not sure what their intention there with that is, if they removed it for future content or if they felt that it didn't align with the principles within the game. They also asked here for raids and again group finder, which aligns with party finder, and they don't want repeating dungeons, or for a lot of people, I don't really want dungeons that make you backtrack. It's really not fun having to backtrack through a dungeon or run back through an empty corridor and there's nothing there. Yeah, that part's just not really fun, and I don't think they should add mobs on the way back, because that wouldn't make sense, or even a respawn. That would just be annoying, and most of those mobs would be skipped. And yeah, I just think it's something with the dungeon layouts making it so repetitive and kind of having you make you backtrack. In fact, some of the most efficient dungeons have you go in a circle, and so that way you don't have to backtrack. Essentially, you're just going around in that circle. We also have a bunch of dev tweets here about what's happening tomorrow in the dev stream, what they're going to be addressing, some of the future highlights, and even some predictions what they'll go over. But we do still have that druid unique bug that's happening. I know a lot of druids are having trouble finding their proper uniques. They are going to address that today. And I know a lot of people have a lot of concerns with a lot of other things, especially that Q&A that we had last month. So we had a tweet here by Carrot87 who said, "I hope it's not like 10 minutes of thank yous and stats on player base, achievements, etc., and then 5 minutes of plans, roadmaps, and changes coming." And Adam Fletcher responded, who again is one of the dev members that's going to be on this live stream. He said, "Nah, a good majority is talking about feedback." We also had another tweet addressed here about the other fake Q&A stuff, or the stuff that happened last month, where Sulky on Twitter said, "You'll only choose questions from people from Blizzard, lol, exactly the Q&A we saw last month. Shameless, 14 days after release, not even a single update." And I think it's a little bit harsh, but we actually did have a response from Adam Fletcher, who responded with, "That wasn't our Q&A, it was from a media outlet." They also admitted that we weren't involved in that. We also called out Twitch names during stream Q&As. We have posted numerous hotfixes and client patches since launch, which is true. I mean, they've been updating the game nearly every day. They've been doing maintenance every other night. Although I will say, it seems like the servers are getting worse and worse with every maintenance, which, not gonna lie, in the past few days, the server latency has felt a little bit more rough. So I hope that is addressed with some of these upcoming patches, or at least some of these maintenance. Now, of course, on World Tier 4, we also had an issue with the crates dropping at level 80, or when you were down a world boss, it would give you a crate for level 80. And some people couldn't open that, and even myself included, when I was first leveling in World Tier 4. And when they first made that change to switch the world bosses to level 92 to kind of buff them, or level 90 or 94, depending on if you're in a Hell Tide, I was essentially a level 79, and even I couldn't open it, so I got my box and I had to wait a level, which wasn't a big deal for me. But like someone like this who is a level 74 on Torment, which is a perfectly fine level to be on. In fact, most people get to Torment level World Tier 4 at like early 60s, even some in the 50s. And so you got all types of levels playing on World Tier 4, and people that are trying to play on the higher Torments and play at more of a challenge are kind of being negatively punished there. So I actually do hope they address this, and I hope they just like drop boxes at like maybe our current level, or whatever it is. Maybe they do 80, and if you're in the 90s, they're up 90s, and if you're in 100, they drop a level 100 box. I think that'd be kind of cool for the level 100s to chase better gear and better loot drops, to actually go do those bosses at level 100 and participate in that. But Adam Fletcher did say that it will be addressed soon, and I assume they probably will talk about it on the live stream as well. Now, there's actually a cap on resources, which I had no idea about because my highest resource count is around 6,700. But this person here has essentially 10,000 of one resource, or at least one off of that, because the cap is 9,999. And so they asked why there is a cap on resources, especially sigil powder, and when you're flooded with veiled crystals, which, yeah, as I said, my most resource is veiled crystals at like 7,000. And they did say that they will talk about this tomorrow. So hopefully they do raise the cap on resources, although maybe they are probably just going to discuss it. We also had a tweet here that addresses the big renown concerns, because if you guys haven't done the renown grind, it is absolutely horrid. It takes so long. It's just like Lost Ark, but except it's going to be reset for Season 1, apparently. Or at least that's what it was supposed to be, is it's supposed to be reset every season. And yeah, I really do hope they change on this, and a lot of people really don't want to have to redo the renown grind, because it is quite a lot for each zone. In fact, I'm still working on it. I still have to do my Lilith statues, and I'm nearing level 100. At this point, I'm just pushing level 100 instead of doing all that stuff, as I'm kind of dreading it and putting it off till later. But Adam Fletcher did address that here with a tweet under it by saying, "We will talk about this some more on Friday." So they are going to address the renown system. There's been so much stuff on the Reddit about the renown stuff, and I'm pretty sure most people agree that we shouldn't have to do the renown every season, or at the very least with Season 1 coming so soon in July. I mean, people are barely even level 50 and 70, and I'm just hitting level 100. So yeah, a lot of people aren't going to be happy to have to redo the renown in a month, so hopefully they address this and something comes as a remedy. But if you enjoyed today's video, like and subscribe, and to the next one. Deuces.